going slow, not believing what you think. Coming all the way back around to that maybe it's okay to suspend your allegiance to your own thinking for a little while. The outside world, and I'm talking about the newsreels, maybe it's okay to suspend some belief in what we hear on the outside and also what we hear on the inside. So it's easy to get upset about this controversy around the Epstein files right now, for example. You can replace Epstein files with any other hot topic of the moment. But there's not much I can do about it, whether I think they should be released or not released, or who's implicated and not implicated, and who's a criminal and who's not a criminal. I'm saying this because I am not that detached from it. I'm like, what is going on? Okay, so and there's nothing I can do about that larger mystery around there. But then I have to turn it back to myself and ask, what is going on? Some of the stories that are going on inside of me, perpetual, long-term stories that I believe have no basis in reality. Like, I'll tell myself, you're not an artist. Who do you think you are? Calling yourself an artist. That's a long story going on in there. And maybe in every realm right now, this moon, which has brought us up to this fullness and is like gently releasing us. It's like the picture of this particular moon is like a hot air balloon, not a tragic hot air balloon, but a hot air balloon. I'm only saying that because the first picture I saw of it was like a hot air balloon bursting into flames. That is not what's happening here. This is a hot air balloon. It brings us up. We get a little bit of a vantage point, like a little moment to be like, oh, I see. I can see where that road goes, which I couldn't see before because it dipped down over a hill. From that perspective, when I was down and the horizon was high compared to me, now that I'm lifting up over the horizon just for a moment, just for a nice big breath, I can see where it goes. So I can make some choices. Do I want to go on that road? Or am I seeing a completely new pathway in front of me because of this momentary breath of a new vantage point? That's this full moon. Full moons always, I don't like to say always, often. Full moons often give me this sense of like, I can't be this big. I can't hold this much. I can't see or feel this much. And then there's the slow, like dripping release of that fullness as we ease our way away from the full moon and back to that new moon. So what I wish for you right now in this moment is that you are feeling just the littlest bit of relief of pressure as we sink back down to our place on the earth, away from that momentary of a vantage point, coming back to our place on earth and getting resolved to put one foot in front of the other and go ahead and see what it's like to walk yourself towards that new way of being, traveling, experiencing the world, knowing what you know from this moment of, sometimes it just feels like a dream, like you have this dream and it gives you some relief and you're like, oh, that could be a nice direction to go. And then you kind of get plopped back down. This one's a gentle plopping though. You get set back down into your daily life. And then it's just that one little thing, one phone call, one bit of research, one shift in your schedule that draws you closer to the direction that you want to go when you can see things from a new and more expansive, I don't like that word, like every once in a while we step out of ourselves and we can see things kind of clearly, like, oh, gosh, I didn't see it that way. And then we get back into narrow sight. So we're trying to integrate this large-sightedness, big-sightedness with the necessary shallow-sightedness of everyday life. That's it. You can go. That's the whole podcast. Yeah, so the picture of that big breath in draws your awareness way up. So it's like you can see your life from above, looking down at the pathway as if it's a river. And then the exhale brings you back down into, okay, so if I'm on that path, I'm on that river, which way am I going? What am I using? Who's coming along with me? Yeah. Okay. Hello and welcome. I am your host, Ann Headley, and this is my podcast, What is Going On Anyway? Here, I take some time every 2 weeks to check in on the moon, whether it's new or full, this time full, and share with you what is coming up for me as an intuitive. I use my imagination and intuition to tell a story by surfing the present moment and talking about what I see. Some call this channeling, but my experience is that this is more of a hybrid of wishing and knowing. And perhaps this is a very good way to brainstorm for the future. I hope this inspires you to look at your own waves of presence. Ultimately, I hope this becomes an internal revolution that I believe is necessary to usher us into the future collaboration of being here together. I'm especially interested in my own and others' experiences of spirituality. And the question, what are we here for? And what is the meaning of life? Not changing the podcast title. I just want to know what is going on anyway. Again and again and again. And with this, what is going on? And with that, what is going on? So here we are with this full moon. I didn't do the full moon. I didn't do this full moon podcast before the full moon. And I'm finding myself as let's not call me a procrastinator. Let's call me a scientist. And the scientist in me, the observer, the one who keeps just noting, that's how it is, notes that it's almost that the energy of a full moon is it's so much. I will often have so much going on during a full moon that I'm really in the moment of it and sensing and feeling and sometimes just holding space for that. It's not the moon rising. It is the feeling in me of like a swelling. It feels so tidal to me now that I've been paying attention for a while. So that tidal swell, it's almost like the intensity of that fullness, that I can't even speak about it until we go into the retreat, which is where we are now. I mean, the moon will be gorgeous tonight if you go out and watch it, but it's starting to go back down into that new moon. Inside of this most recent cycle, I had a visit from a dear old friend. Now, I say a dear old friend. Many dear old friends are ones that you might have talked to in the past 30 years. We just got back in touch with each other. We were housemates in college, and we were artistic collaborators in college as dance and choreography students at VCU. And I thought I lost him in this way that I had reached out maybe 10 or 15 years ago, researched, asked people, how do I find him again? And I couldn't. It just didn't happen. I just wasn't able to find him. And then most recently, early in this year, was it last year, he reached out, found me, and oh boy, did we have good conversations. And we talked about getting together. And then he made it work. He tacked on a trip to me on the end of another trip that he was already on, flew into Portland, and we just had such a fun wonderful time reconnecting and hearing about each other's stories of the last 30 years. What I understand about this kind of reconnection is, one, it's not a given, right? These are these magic things that happen. And it brought me back to, do you remember when I was doing all that wishing early? It was like December, January, the epiphany wishing. And one of the questions to help you understand what you might be interested in wishing for, one of the questions that we were given, because I did a workshop on wishing, but one of the questions that we were meant to mull over to help us get more in touch with our wishes and our desires is, what would really make me laugh? And I wouldn't have known that a long visit with an old friend, but of course it does, right? Of course it makes you laugh. So I'm wishing this for you, a long visit with an old friend that you didn't necessarily believe would happen again. And that's the kind of magic about staying here, staying alive, is that we can have these little moments of completely unexpected joy. So that's what I wish for you, is to keep yourself open to, now that's the thing about unexpected joy, right? You can't plan it. You can't figure it out. You can't, I'm thinking in my head, I want to use some kind of language around maximize efficiency and make things happen. And, that's not really how the real magic of life happens. Maybe that's magic too. I don't mean to discount that in this moment, but what I'm saying is, how do we stay open and receptive and available to particular kinds of joys? And I wonder if it's a practice. I wonder if it's a way of greeting your day without knowing that the day will happen and there's no way that you are going to be able to plan or predict every little thing that happens. And instead of thinking of that in that kind of typical negative way of something bad's going to happen and I'm going to have to deal with it, something's going to break or spill or fall apart, or I'm my car needs AC right now. Those are the things that happen. Something breaks and has to be fixed. But I'm talking about the opposite of that. Those coincidences, those magic moments of unexpected beauty and joy. I think sometimes we miss them. So practicing being open to them. What would it look like to see around that corner? What would it be to stand here one moment longer? Yeah. I don't know. There's no way of knowing how to do that, but I'm just saying, I think we should sprinkle our lives with unexpected joy. And of course, we can't insist that happens. It's kind of like hope, right? Hoping that it will happen, being available to it. It's kind of like being a kid again and believing in magic, believing that leaf falling or the feather that you see has a deep meaning, and just going with it, letting your magical, spiritual being have some activity through your imagination in this life. We don't have to shut that down as much as sometimes we think we have to as adults. Yeah. That's part of me having that big vantage point and then coming back down into myself, like a really big inhalation, expansion. Anything is possible. And then exhaling back down to this moment now. In this moment now, I have a few things that I can do that keep me moving in the direction that my spirit is asking me to go. And so I'd like to suggest that if you did make wishes at the beginning of this year, we're solidly halfway through 2025. Could you go back and look at that list? Or could you think back and remember what were some of the things that when wishing When the window of wishing is wide open, what do you wish for? What's the list of things? Not that any of that is a non-negotiable list, but that you have a list so that you know where your desire is. And when I say desire, I'm like, can you get grounded into your pelvis and feel the desire of your very being, not the brain desire, which is, it's different. It has a different feeling. Like there's some things that we just know we probably would like to have happen. And so we order ourselves and our lives to make those things happen. Like me, I have an appointment for my car for the AC to be fixed. But that's not a deep desire, you know? So those are like two different places. There's another desire for me to feel sand between my toes and have a swim in the ocean before it's colder than I'm as brave to get in, right? So that's a body desire. That's a different kind of desire. And now might be a good time of, like laying in bed and noticing, what is the body desire? What is the mind desire? What is my heart's desire? My heart's desire doesn't have specifics, It's like my heart desired that reconnection with my friend, but it didn't know how. It didn't have a timeline. It didn't have a picture exactly of how that would happen. It was a heart feeling. And I'm just going to read one of the wishes. When I was wishing, I wrote down, I wish for collaborations that make my dreams of art making possible. And I wish for ways to see events happen, including performance events where it doesn't all depend on me. I wish to be part of a team where I feel deeply valued. So those wishes all still resonate for me. Can you just take a moment and without having to work very hard, can you just wish a wish? Just wish a wish. I wish. My heart wishes. My mind wishes. My body wishes. My ancestors wish. The land wishes. This country wishes. The water wishes. The sky wishes. The soil wishes. I wish. Let's see what the I Ching has to say about this moment for us. So I Ching, as I reach into this open space, this unknown, invisible space, what would you have us know for this moment now? We get hexagram 51, the arousing shock. I can't see thunder over thunder as anything but it shakes you up a little bit scary, a little bit like, oh, I better pay attention to where I am. Shock comes to have us pay attention, to accept what is. Sometimes we can see something far, like say we see a storm far away, and we accept it and we see it, but we don't pay attention in the same way as when thunder is clapping right over our head. It's a different sort of way of paying attention, right? So now this shock, thunder and thunder right in front of you is meant to wake us up. Pay attention. Look what's happening around you. Be open to accepting what is. It's not far away. It's right here now. The changing line for this, because it goes 51 to 24, which is return, which is like return of the light. So that's really nice. I guess what I mean is don't be scared. But I have to say, when I saw that we got 51, I was scared. That it's like, oh, what now? What now? But it doesn't have to be that like pushing against and resistance of some bad event. It's really more of a like you're in a bad dream and somebody wakes you up. But also it can be sometimes it can be shocking things, but my nervous system can't really handle thinking about that continuously. So the idea of being in a thunderstorm where I'm huddled together with someone I love and watching it go by and being really present with it, that feels better to me. We get the changing line 4. You are, and when I read this, I was like, how about let's just think about this. I know not all of you are Americans that listen to this podcast, but us Americans are like, what? 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 All the time. And I want to read this line as if this is, hey, United States of America, or not just United States of America, but government of the United States of America. You are mired in resistance to events. Quiet your ego, accept the situation, and open your heart to learning what you need to learn. I'll read it again. You don't have to think about it that way. Maybe just personally. You are mired in resistance to events. Sometimes resistance to events looks like I'm trying really hard to make something happen. Quiet your ego, accept the situation, and open your heart to learning what you need to learn. If you wish to enjoy the fruits of enlightenment, abandon regard for the conventional and the communal. And we want to be collaborative, community-oriented people, right? But on the spiritual path, it's kind of up to you in the end. You are the one facing your own, I want to say Godhead, but you are that point of creation, and it's only you. The way is a path for one. Then it narrows until there's not even space for you anymore. All of this moves to hexagram 24, which is return. And this one, I'm like, oh, thank you. A time of darkness comes to a close. It's like such a relief. It's like the dawn comes again after a hard night. You've reached a turning point. Yet one cannot force the completion of change, and it is wise to rest. Let me say it again. It is wise to rest. Act only when you can move gently and innocently, and all will be well, and all will be well. Let things develop naturally in their own way. Simply observe and accept changes as you observe and accept the rising of the sun. Allow yourself to rest and gather strength for a time of growth ahead. Allow yourself to rest and gather strength for a time of growth ahead. Summer is a good time for resting. Those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, winter is a good time for resting. Maybe it's always a good time. Letting yourself get to that point of full rest before moving into the next place is a luxury few afford themselves. And this is a time for it now. Rest, nap, sleep, rest. Okay. That's all I have for you this time. And I am so glad to have these few moments to connect with you and share a little bit. And always here as we go into the end of this podcast, I have this moment where I reach my thinking forward like an anchor point to that new moon coming up. And I can just tell you, I feel that tiny bit of excitement about that new moon coming. It feels like, I know what it feels like. When my friend came, I don't usually give up my room when people come, but I did give up my room so that he could stay there. It was just the easiest choice for me in that moment. But what I had to do was clear my room. I had to get all of the stuff out, like the notebooks and the papers and the projects I'm never going to get to. And I had all these art supplies that really needed to be in the studio, and I gathered them all up and put them in the studio so I can make art in the studio instead of on my bed. And that feeling, all that junky feeling, right? Clearing it out. I wasn't ready to clear it out. I wasn't finished with those projects. But the feeling now is like, oh, I can really rest in my room. And that resting place gives me a place to move from into new projects and new creativity. And that's just that inkling of a feeling about this new moon coming. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we're really at in a couple of weeks. And I hope you will join me again then. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this space with me. It's a quiet space. It's a muted room that I'm in for just a short period of time. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me on my website, www.annhedley.com. Thank you so much for being here. May you be well, and may you know peace. And may all beings everywhere, whether known to me or you and us or unknown, may they be well, and may they